What's up, gente? What's up, Raza? I wanted to do a quick update on the war that is happening right now across the world, but also the war still happening here that involves us. So, real quick, Donald Trump has basically fired Chrissy Nome, the head of ICE, the head of DHS, and she's embarrassed herself. And really, the only reason he fired her is because she threw him under the bus. And she testified in Congress. She was being questioned under oath for 200 million plus dollars that she was spending on commercials, the jets that she was paying for, including her fancy what you call bedroom for her and her boyfriend that they were sharing. I mean, all kinds of waste, supposedly stuff that Republicans and conservatives care about. She threw him under the bus when she was questioned. Did Donald Trump know about this in the commercials and how much she would be spending? She said yes, they had reviewed it. So she's under oath. She had no choice. She threw him under the bus, and Donald Trump fired her. So that's a good thing. We're happy to watch her go. But hey, this is a war on Raza, and we are the targets. It's launched at us, our community. This thing called ICE, masked idiots, masked thugs that hide behind that mask, no warrants, and heavy guns and artillery, right, to go hunt us down. Trump was loving it, loving the scene, and until it became an embarrassment, until it started backfiring on him. And so I bring this update to you just to let you know, don't be fooled. Um, just because she's gone doesn't mean it's over. As a matter of fact, the clown that is going to take her place is a Senator Mark Wayne Mullen out of Oklahoma, I believe. Mark Wayne Mullen. This guy is an idiot, former MMA fighter. He's a senator, but he's also a racist. He's a racist, and if I'm not incorrect, he even claims to be Native American, whatever that means nowadays, right? But he's going to take her place, and he's worse. So it's not the figurehead, it's not the face up there. Matter of fact, that's why we shouldn't get too caught up with Trump, because that fool might croak and die someday. And the problem is not, whether Trump is still there. The problem is whether that white supremacist ideology, that MAGA white supremacist agenda is still being carried out. That is the point. So let's not celebrate just because Christine Noem got, fired and demoted. Really, she got demoted to some new agency Trump came up with. I'll talk about that right now. But just heads up, rest of the war on us has not ended. If anything, they're not out there making fools of themselves like they had been during the earlier months this year and last year. They're not out there, embarrassing themselves by just doing it out in the open with no care. They pretty much been told to tone it down. So this is the time when we mustn't rest. So let's do that. Let's continue to organize. Don't let ICE off the hook. Matter of fact, no police agency should have that power. That's why we don't work with cops. A lot of us, we don't trust law enforcement because they report to the powerful, to the wealthy, to the elite. If police really truly work for the people, they'd arrest the president, they'd arrest their bosses, the politicians, they'd arrest their own cops who are pulling some scams and who are brutalizing our people, right? Black, brown, white, and yellow. They're brutalizing everybody out there, but they won't do that. So, if anything, they're down with the system. They're down with the empire, what I call the empire. They're down with the white supremacist agenda. So as long as they continue to do that, we don't support cops, especially ICE. So don't be fooled just because this Christy Nome is gone. So I was going to mention where's she go, right? Where's Christy Nome now, right? She's been demoted to a foolish agency that Trump just created. It's called the Shield of the Americas. This is Trump's new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere. It's meant to be a unification of all the countries in Latin America, in the Americas, right? Basically, it's something that of his own creation. He's going to be able to stamp his own name on it. There's already an organization of American states that has been in existence for decades. And everybody's taking part in that organization for the most part, including the United States, who did call the shots, by the way, in that. But obviously, everything has to be stamped with the Trump seal of approval and the Trump brand, right? The guy's a marketer. So what he does is create this fake agency and organization, and he invites only the right wing countries, the countries who are bowing down to him, the countries who don't care about human rights, for example, where you got that crazy massive prison. You've got countries like Chile. You got countries like Argentina, and you got some leaders out of these crazy right wing countries where people were endorsed. These candidates were endorsed by Trump and won. You had all these countries that are lapdogs for Trump, right wingers for Trump, but there's a few countries he doesn't invite. He doesn't invite Colombia. Obviously, the president of Colombia called him out. He doesn't invite Cuba. Matter of fact, he's been talking about the fall of Cuba during his comments on Iran, and he doesn't invite Mexico, right? Mexico, of all countries not to invite Mexico, right? Obviously, he hates the president. He doesn't like the woman president who's pretty much been handling him pretty good when it comes to his foolishness, but he doesn't invite specific countries that are considered left wing. So it's a show. It's a reality show for him. It's all been a show for him the whole time. And by creating this fake organization, this new fake organization, he's trying to make it seem as though there's unity there for what he's doing. But he obviously doesn't invite the largest country of them all, being Mexico. Now Brazil is big too. I don't know if he invited Brazil or not. We'll have to look into that. But for the most part, talking about Central and Latin American countries, he doesn't invite those who are considered left wing. By virtue of not inviting Mexico, right, Claudia Sheinbaum, how do you not invite Mexico or Cuba or Colombia? He's pretty much making it clear that he's got his favorites, and you either do as he says or you will not be invited to have a seat at the table in this new organization, supposedly. Now, with that said, the war in Iran is something to think about because he launched it obviously to cover up the fact that the economy is horrible, to cover up the Epstein files, which basically came out and talked horribly about him. Some new stuff came out that's disturbing. It's not new actually, but it's finally been released. He wanted to cover that up. He wanted to cover up the fact that things aren't going well in other parts of the world where the United States is pretty much pushing people around. But by invading Iran on behalf of Israel, it gives him that convenient excuse to do what I've always been saying he's going to do, Raza, gente, people. He's going to cancel elections. He's going to declare an emergency. He's going to declare a state of emergency where he cancels elections, seizes power, and refuses to leave. And if he does leave, he's going to leave only if his party stays in power and manages to continue this agenda of white supremacy, of colonization, of imperialism, and basically brutalizing and kicking around anybody that they want to, who doesn't bow down to him, like Cuba, who he today's a couple of days ago said is about to collapse, and he said out of the blue he's got his eye on Cuba. And I have a soft spot in my heart for Cuba. You all know I was born in Mexico, so you all know I got a soft spot for Mexico. uh, I've traveled to several countries, but at the end of the day, we got to stick together, all these countries. And so maybe we can start a campaign where we do reach out to different countries and different leaders, where hopefully we can stick together, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take us reaching out to countries like China, yes, China, like Mexico, and making sure that they know that that we're here, that we're here. Those of us that can speak out, we're here to speak out against racism, white supremacy, imperialism, fascism of any form. So don't believe the hype. Let's stick together, gente. Be strong out there, and we still got our fight against ICE. We can't keep thinking that everything is fine now just because we're not watching them. They're still out there. This war is still launched on us. It still continues. So que viva la raza. All power to the people. And aho, I'm out.